everyone. I can't believe the tech actually worked. If you know me well, I usually have lots of problems at the beginning there, but woo, it worked. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me check that I am still good. But woo, it worked. Oh, okay, that's great. Thank you, everyone, for being here and ready to roll. I'm approving people who are still requesting to be admitted to the group as we go. So if you see me glancing down to my phone, that's what I'm doing. But welcome. I'm so excited for this training because, my gosh, this is a topic it's a topic that was very well received by people. Everyone put their hand up wanting to be part of this training, and it kind of tells me what I kind of knew already, in that lots of us are very overwhelmed with our time in the kitchen. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. We have lots to get through tonight, and I'm hoping that we can. If we can't, then we will make a plan B, but I'm going to get going right now so that we can have our best chance of getting through it. But before we actually go ahead and do that, I've been seeing people in the comments saying hello. I love to see, oh, Amy, your kid's not asleep. I've got 3 extra minutes. Well, good luck with that, Amy. I love to see you commenting in the group. If I don't reply to everyone straight away, it's just because I'm wanting to stay super focused and get through this content. But I love to see you in there engaging. So chat with each other, put questions up there for me, because I'm hoping I'll still be able to see those comments after the fact. And I'll do a Q&A probably tomorrow or the day after. I'll do a Q&A from the content of this training. Now, the last piece of housekeeping before we get stuck in. I can see that some of you have given me permission to see your name. Because I'm going live through a streaming software called StreamYard, you need to give Facebook permission to give me your name so I can see who's talking to me, because I really do like to know who I'm talking to. I can see some people have and many people haven't. It's one click, you guys. It's in the description of this Facebook post if you're in the Facebook group. Oh, I forgot to put the YouTube link on the message. Sorry to those who wanted the YouTube link. If you can click that link, it's just a one click through and then I can see your name. I would so appreciate that. And let me know how this new mic is going too. Let me know if that voice is coming through okay. All right, let's get started. I feel quite excited about this particular training because it really, look, I know that some of this is going to be kind of like common sense to you guys. It's not rocket science. It is quite simple. However, as we're going to talk about, common sense is not always common practice. And we are together as a community of people. We are going to put into place the things that you know are going to help you, but you haven't done yet. So together, we're going to do that tonight. So have a pen and paper ready. Have your phone ready, because you're going to need your phone, and I'll tell you why shortly. Oh, thanks, guys. Beautiful. Oh, that's a shame. Someone's having trouble with that thing, with that link. The link, whoever said that, the link is in the description of the post within the Facebook group. It should just be streamyard.com/Facebook if you can't see it there. streamyard.com/Facebook. All right, let's get going. All right. Okay, so you guys, I know that you, like I said, there's so many of you that have asked to come, and you've turned up tonight, and I know that there's a reason for that. If you are a mum with school-age kids and under, you are probably having an experience of time that is not working for you. You've shown up here tonight. You're probably cooking for yourself, maybe a partner, maybe 1, 2, 3 or more kids, and really that can suck a whole lot of time that we're going to talk about. So I can tell that your experience of time is probably not working for you. You might be exhausted under the weight of the domestic load, and specifically spending your time in the kitchen. And I can't wait to show you a little bit of data on that in a minute. Oops. One thing that I'm hearing time and time again from both people in our No Fuss Nourish membership and also just my friends in general is that we as mums, if we don't feel like we're being perfect, we can really feel that niggling mother's guilt, as they call it. Like, it's not logical, it's not needful, but yet most of us still feel it. And if we're not nourishing our kids in our minds enough to give them the best start in life, then sometimes that guilt and that niggly negativity and worry and critical self-talk can come through. So I would really love to help you get rid of that. One, just through a bit of mindset change, won't be happening tonight. But secondly, through practical help to actually get you further along the path to what you want. And that's what we're talking about tonight. So also, you might be here because you just feel it's all confusing and you just are a little bit overwhelmed with it. You might be getting some negativity kickback from your kids and you're kind of a little bit over it. And in fact, I think this is the next one. Where I was at in the past was that it was so time consuming. I was so into it. I was so into making healthy food for my family all the time. I was so into making everything from scratch that I actually became way too over the top. My kids became negative in like our food culture in our home went downhill, became negative. And it kind of got to the point where I was like, you know what, if you guys don't want it, then to hell with it. I'm just not going to do it anymore. You get quite indignant and you get this martyr mentality. And so that's what I don't want for you guys. I don't know if any of you are there yet, but I was there some time ago. And I'm not saying that you will ever be there, hopefully not, but that can be some of those emotions that come. So I'm happy if any of those ring true for you, then I'm glad that you're here. This is the part that I'm excited to show you. Hey, Carly, Angelina, hey, Jelena, and Bianca, Allison, Jessica. Hello, everyone. Maybe you are one of the people. We actually surveyed tens of thousands of mums in our flagship 21-day Whole Food My Family challenge. We don't run that challenge anymore, but we ran it time and time and time again in years past. We had so many people come through. We surveyed all these mums and we asked them, what's the number one thing standing between you and flooding your family with nutrition? Like, what is it that's actually holding you back from providing that nutrition for your family and yourself? Number one answer, like across the board, every single time, was life overwhelm. We are feeling so much overwhelm in our life. Now, maybe you're in the boat with Lisa Corduff. Lisa Corduff is a friend and also someone who collaborated with us on the 21-day Whole Food My Family challenge. And she conducted her own survey of thousands of women. And you can see her there. Lisa Corduff is the creator of the Change Room, and you can find her at those websites there on the screen. She conducted her survey, right? Get this. The majority of women surveyed said they have not felt full of energy for at least a year. And a whopping, like a teeny weeny squeezy, 1.8% of women felt fully rested. 1.8%. Like, that is astounding. 1.8% of women are feeling rested. And the majority haven't felt fully energized for at least a year. And 37% can't even remember the last time they felt full of energy. Like, that's very sad news, you guys. Please tell me where you sit in the comments. Like, I'd really like to know where you guys are at with this. I've got a feeling it's probably going to echo what the slides are saying. Lisa also found that 81% of women claim the domestic load is one of their biggest external energy drains. This one caught my eye because over time, and it hasn't always been this way, trust me, but over time, I've actually found myself in a place where for the vast majority of time that I spend in the kitchen, I'm actually feeling quite positive about it. And I know that might sound a little bit like toxic positivity, but you'll see in a minute that it's not, that I've been through quite a journey with it. And I'm so excited to share that with you. Yeah, okay, so just checking the comments. Someone said they can't read the writing along the bottom. I will include it in the ebook download that I'm giving you. Kelly says she can't remember when. Allison says no energy. Jessica, hard relate. Definitely overwhelm. Jelena, my drain is life admin. Yes. Okay, Bianca can very much relate too. Okay, so you guys, this is what we're going to learn in our time together tonight. And to be honest, this is actually the first time I've hung out live inside this group for such a long time. And it's a pleasure and a joy for me to join you here tonight. So thank you. And by hanging out tonight, we are going to talk about the 3 mistakes that mamas just like you and I make that keep us in the I'm so tired land. And we're going to talk about how you can stop those mistakes, break free, and claim that zesty, energized version of yourself that you know is there somewhere. Like you might have felt like, tell me in the comments again, like, do you feel like there's that version of yourself that you used to have that you're just not feeling these days? The other thing we're going to learn is we actually scrapped it down to 3 because we did not have time for 4, but 3 food rhythms to honor so that you can create more time out of thin air and embrace more time with your family or whatever it is you'd rather be doing. And we're going to learn the hack to make any goal, to add rocket fuel to any of your goals to increase that likelihood of success. Yeah, thanks for those comments in the group. Oh, yes, I see that. I get it. Thank you. I would love to hear more of you. That's great. We're also going to learn about how to literally halve the weekly time you spend making dinner and then reinvest that time into rest and connection with your family, or yes, even maybe getting a head start on that huge list you have so that you can get a little bit of space in your head. Like that is some fairly big promises, and I don't say them lightly. All the things that we are talking about tonight, I have personally practiced for many years, and I can attest to the impact that they can have on your life, and I'm excited. Oh, sorry, there's more. We're going to learn the 1-minute morning habit that removes the stress from the afternoon and improves the quality of food that you eat that day. Because if you're anything like I am sometimes, and definitely was, sometimes you start the morning going, oh, I'm going to eat so well today. And then things, by the time like 11 o'clock hits, it's a thing of the past and you've reached for other things. So this is the 1-minute morning hack that will actually help you kind of cut those habits that you might have fallen into and actually give you a chance to stick by them. We're also going to talk about the surprising shopping habit that preps you for the entire week, reduces your food waste, and saves you an entire food prep session later in the week. Whew. Okay, so that's awesome. Zesty me is in there somewhere. Jessica says, yes, Jessica, you are in there somewhere. And I would really love to be able to help you. Like I said, this stuff is simple, but we've got to actually just start putting this into practice. Like it's so easy to dismiss this stuff, but if you don't dismiss it, you give it a chance, you implement it, give it 2 weeks, and then email me, message me on Messenger and say, Lainey, it didn't work. Or Lainey, it was amazing. My life is feeling different. And I have a feeling that it might be the latter. Okay, so real quick, this training is not for you. If you're content with your time spent in the kitchen already, you're not craving better health for you or your family, there's no tension or negativity around food or food responsibilities in your home, and you get upset or offended if I give you 60 minutes of free training and then make an offer at the end. So many of you will know that we actually started the No Fuss Nourish Method membership probably like it was 8 months ago. We've never opened the doors since, and I will be opening the doors at the end of the training today just for a few days. It'll be a small group. We're not ready for a huge intake. We're just going to do a small little group. And so I will tell you a little bit about that at the end, if that's okay with you. Let me know how that sits with you. Okay, now 2 little fun rewards for sticking around to the end. I'm going to give you a little mini ebook. It's 7 quick and simple lunch ideas for you, because so often we talk about school lunches for the kids, but we kind of miss out on nourishing ourselves. And so this is a very simple, quick, small ebook that is just going to give you very quick, easy, simple lunch ideas that are not going to see you walking back into the kitchen at lunch to like make lunch for yourself. And I'm also going to give you the Killing the Kitchen Time Suck ebook, which is going to have some of what we speak about tonight, but also heaps more. I'm going to put in there my family's go-to emergency dinners, which in my terminology, an emergency dinner is a dinner that you have to kind of start and finish in less than 10 minutes because you've just walked through the door and it's like bedtime for the kids already and you've done nothing about dinner. So that's going to be up your sleeve, so you don't need to rely on takeout, etc. So at the end, I'll give you the link for both of those. Okay. All right. So just to give you a little bit of a backstory, I was just distracted by the comments there. That's awesome. Thank you. Someone said, yay for the No Fuss Nourish method. I was a founding member and love it. Oh, that's so good. Thank you. I don't know your name, but thank you so much. And Megan's like, yes, yay to a 1 minute habit. Sherry is echoing the sentiments of many people I've heard before her talk about vocal support from the other half is there, but not through their food choices, which makes for an uphill battle. Sherry, I totally feel you. There are so many people in the same boat as you, and it does make it tricky. There's no denying that it makes it tricky. And so I'd love to chat further at maybe we can do a whole nother training on something like that at some point. Okay, so this is me with my son, Max. As a young mum, I kind of came into motherhood just completely clueless. I'd basically never held a baby before my own. I'd never known how to make a meal before I moved out of home at 18, and my flatmate had to teach me how to make a meal because she saw me basically eating one night. There was just, I ate a red capsicum for dinner because I just didn't know how to cook. So there was lots that I did not know. That's me at 18, learning how to cook basically from my friends. So this is very early days, and I found that what I was doing, because I was so clueless going into this whole like new life of motherhood, and my upbringing was like, my mom is amazing, but as I grew into a teenager, I was the youngest. She was like ready to just like have a different lifestyle. So she, kind of went to work a lot, which was great for her. Like I love that. But basically, I just kind of didn't learn a whole lot. And we had lots of frozen dinners. I didn't know how to like clean a toilet. Like there was just stuff that I just missed learning. And so when I threw myself into motherhood, I kind of would see people who were kind of doing it the way that I wanted to do it, I thought. And I would kind of just step into their identity in a way. And you're going to hear how damaging that was in just a minute, and how much I love and totally understand my mother for that upbringing. But basically, I was kind of just going all in. My sister-in-law was just this domestic goddess and just served everyone all the time. And I was like, yes, I'm going to be like that. I went for a trip down to Melbourne with some friends, and the person I stayed with, a family friend, she cooked a 3-course meal for all 6 of us for like 2 weeks in a row. She spent all of her day doing it. And I thought that was fantastic. And I wanted to be like that. So I was just kind of taking on these identities from all these other people. You can see me there kind of cooking in the kitchen. And yeah, like I actually loved it. Like it was something that I really enjoyed doing. Things changed when our 4th child was born, and our little angelic 3rd child went from an angel to an absolute monster. And I really thought that it was just a phase. She was getting used to the new baby and things would pass. But it kind of didn't. We went on for years like that. And it was really, really tough. We also had lots of other things happen. Like we had some extended family, major stresses and dramas. We had some marriage tension. We had big financial challenges. I developed anxiety after that baby was born, which I'd never had before. So I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't even identify it for quite some time. There was a lot going on. And kind of in the mix of that, for some crazy reason, I decided to start the Whole Food Collective, which many of you will know. It was an online whole food marketplace. And so I would get up, the baby would wake up. Oh, by the way, we had a surprise 5th baby and amongst all that too. So when the baby would wake up at 3 a.m. for a feed, I would get up, I would feed her, I would put her back to bed, and then I would just stay up on my laptop until everyone else woke up and it was breakfast time. I did that for years, and my goodness, did it take its toll. So that's our little surprise number 5 there. And I still remember the day it felt like my brain broke. I was just at the end of one of my crazy morning shifts on my laptop. I went out to the kitchen when everyone woke up to make a bowl of porridge. We'd made porridge for years and years on end. And I could do it with my eyes closed. But this one day, I walked into that kitchen and I could not for the life of me remember how to make a bowl of porridge. It was like my brain literally broke. And we can identify it now as quite a little bit of a breakdown. And also, I had entered hard adrenal fatigue. And so there's been quite a journey since then. But, oh, gee, what's happened to my slide? Basically, I think what I meant then was basically to say that that's a little bit of the snippet of my life story and how I've really had to come out of being all into the food side of things and embrace more gentleness on myself, find ways to flip and get my life back on track and get my health back on track, because that was a recipe for disaster, and disaster absolutely hit. And so even though that's my personal story, and I share that with you because I know you guys are all fantastic. Most of you have been in this community for some time. But I know that you all have your own personal stories. They're definitely not going to be the same as mine, but my goodness, we all have so much on our plates. We have so much overwhelm, which is hence why it's the number one reason that people feel like they can't nourish their families, is because they are so overwhelmed with life. And I get it. The kitchen time suck, the phenomena of walking into the kitchen and it's like a ball and chain just appears on your ankle. You go in there all fresh in the morning thinking, oh, I'm going to make breakfast and lunches for the kids. And all of a sudden you're just there for way longer than you ever expected. And so what I want to say is that the kitchen time suck is very real. Like, can we just acknowledge that? Is everyone, it's probably pointless to even ask. I wanted to ask, is everyone here in the chat like actually agreeing and feeling this? I think you are, otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? And so some of the things that can happen when we actually enter that kitchen time suck and we're in there for too long, we get fatigued. Sometimes we can resent even making food for our family. And the fact that we're doing it alone, we feel overwhelmed. And my personal go-to was that martyr mentality. And on top of all that, of course, we can get our sore feet and sore back, etc., etc. Oh, yes. Thank you. And Anna, you are so right. There comes a point where we have to forget perfection. And that's where we're all at tonight. Yes. Yes. There came a point, and you can see where that point was. I had to ask myself some serious questions. I had to ask, what was really important in my life? Are those identities I was stepping into, is that actually really important to me? Who and what deserves my energy, and who and what doesn't deserve my energy? Whose idea of success am I trying to live up to? What do I want my life to look like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Definitely not how it was looking, that's for sure. And so what do I need to change or do differently to actually have that result? What who says whatever got you here is not going to get you there? Right? So if you're in a space now where you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, we've got to make some tweaks and changes. And so let's try to do that tonight together. Perhaps most importantly, the question that I asked myself was, what if life didn't have to feel so exhausting all the time? And I tell you what, through all the work that I've done with the Whole Food Collective and Stack Smoothie Co. and No Fuss Nourished, is that women in particular are feeling very drained and very tired, and that's kind of the norm now. Like why is that? That's not normal. It's usual and common, but it's not normal, right? And so I became obsessed with lightening my load and shedding those identities. And fast forward to today, you'll see a very different reality to what my kitchen food culture looks like. So I do still nourish my family. I do have to still spend time in the kitchen. There's me doing that. But it doesn't feel like a burden. Like I said, it's not heavy and there's no pressure. And honestly, I know this sounds so Pollyanna, but I actually do feel so grateful that I actually can nourish my family. I get that opportunity to do that. I have the means, even though, we're definitely not super comfortable, but we have the ability to buy healthy food for our family. And we all have some time, and I'm going to show you tonight how that time can be a real thing for you. Okay, I'm Kara. Yes, your name is showing. Thank you. Okay, because here's the truth, and I know you know this, that we only have so much time in the day. There are 24 hours in a day, 7 days in the week, 168 hours in the week. Is that right? Yep, that's the week. And so we can't expect to be nourished and feel healthy all the time if we are just going for those convenient options. And look, there's no shame here. Like, I don't mind where anyone is at. And I've certainly been at a time where I would grab the McCain super fries and the frozen chicken nuggets. But we all know that it's not actually going to serve us in the long run, right? Unless you have a personal chef that's making you salads every day and a dishy to help out too, then we're going to have to actually spend some time in the kitchen, because there's breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, there's treats. Like, all of that adds up. It's not just one meal a day. Like, you go in there thinking, oh, it's breakfast time, but then you're back in there for lunch, and then you're back in there for dinner, and you're back in there in between for snacks, and then someone wants dessert. Like, it's kind of like a full-time job. But what I want to express is that, let's just say that even if you only spent 10 minutes on breakfast, 10 minutes on lunch, 30 minutes on dinner, 10 for snacks, 10 for treats, like 10 minutes for everything, but 30 minutes for dinner, that's 444 hours of your year spent doing that. That's 11 full-time working weeks or 53 full days. Like, that is a long time. It's a seventh of your entire waking hours of your life. Like, I don't know if those numbers helped you, but when I calculated that, I was like, whoa, that's quite eye-opening. Did you know that I've made over 6,000 school lunches? Like, it helps I've got 5 kids, but my gosh, that's a lot. So what I want to say is that I cannot remember what that was. What I want to say is, what if we could just slash that time in half? And I'm saying that we can probably do more than that, but let's just say we could slash it in half. We would save ourselves 6.5 weeks of the year, 26 days of the year. And like, what would you do with that time? Like, if you were to be completely, like, if you were to think of what would you do with that time? Like, if that was just spread across your week, what could you possibly get done in that time? For me, the time that I make dinner at night, it's beautiful golden hour outside. I would much rather be taking a walk or a bike ride, go to the beach with the kids. Sometimes I now even just go to sit on the couch and put my feet up. Like, we could help you kids with your homework. There are so many things that you would probably rather do, right? So the vehicle that's going to get, sorry, that's not meant to even be there, but okay, this is going to tell you the story. So for those who don't know me, I didn't even introduce myself earlier. My name is Lainey. That's my family. You can see there. I've got 5 kids. My husband, Jordan, who many of you will know as well. We founded the Whole Food Collective, which was that online marketplace. And the role that I had there in large part was to vet all of the ingredients of each product. And vet we did. We got experts in from all over the place, and they would look over every spec sheet. And in the process of doing that, I learned so much about food and about ingredients, about the food industry, and about all the little sneaky tactics they use to try to get stuff approved and through into shops and into our tummies. And then now we've sort of tweaked and pivoted, and now we're stacked whole food blends. So we have lots of yummy whole food blends that make life easy for people. But I wanted to let you know that, just to kind of say, like, I kind of know what I might kind of know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I'm not just some random that's come on. So in the process of having the Whole Food Collective, we did actually group coach tens of thousands of people. And here are some of the comments of people in our membership and in the free challenges. I'm going to just whiz through. Definitely not going to read them. Come on, whiz through. But basically, I just wanted to let you know, like, I can help. So if I can do this, if I've been able to do it in my own personal life, and yes, even though I have had to put my head to this more than most in coaching people and through the stuff we've done, that's all going to be for your benefit. But I'm still just an everyday working mom. Like, after all, if I can do it, you can definitely do it. And I'm so happy to help you get there. Now, before we start talking about mistake number 1, I want to challenge our thinking just a little bit. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I believe convenience is overrated. Like, we are now in a society where we just want the quick fix. We want the frozen box. We want the drive-through. We want just like the quickest option for anything with this pretty little barcode on the side. We've become so entrenched in this convenience culture that we've actually forgotten how to embrace the rhythms in our lives that return to us far more than what they take. And we've forgotten how to truly invest in ourselves. And I know that, you've found yourself here because I've been speaking about these food rhythms online a little bit. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about those 3 mistakes people make and also 3 of those food rhythms, because those food rhythms, that's where it's at. So I've seen the time. We're going to fly by a bit. So those food rhythms are what I use to ensure that even though I'm busy and that I have a gazillion things on my mind, I can actually still make sure that my time is protected, that my time is honored, that my life feels balanced, and I can still nourish myself and my family. So that is never something that I would sell for the name of convenience. Some of these food rhythms, sure, they might take you 10 minutes, but I'm going to tell you how to make that. I won't spoil the surprise there. But yeah, you might not feel like doing it every time. It might feel inconvenient just a little bit, but my goodness, isn't it more inconvenient to suffer the consequences of not nourishing yourself and feeling sluggish all day long and being snappy, etc., etc.? So I say we should say no to the kitchen time suck and embrace those food rhythms that return to us far more than what they take. Because dragging your feet through the day because you don't have energy, because you haven't nourished yourself well, is way more inconvenient than the rhythm you skipped. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I like that theory. That last comment there is awesome. So I want to say, let's honor the rhythms. Let's actually plan for them. Make them part of the way that we move through our week, and they become habitual. We don't have to even think about them, but we respect them and we appreciate them for all the things that they're actually going to return to us. So let's honor the rhythms. On that note, let's move on to mistake number 1. Okay, the mistake number 1, you guys, is that we have forgotten the law of the farm. Now, the law of the farm is something that is a gazillion years old. It's in the Bible. It's also in many books of personal development coaches in our modern day. So we've got Stephen Covey, Brendan Burchard. They both talk about it in the books I have of theirs. Basically, in a very basic level, the law of the farm is that you reap what you sow. The law of the farm governs all areas of life, and there is no way to fake the harvest. Now, just real quick, can you imagine being on a farm and just kind of throwing some seed out there and then kicking back on the couch with your feet up for the rest of the season and then going back to harvest? You are not going to have anything to harvest because you haven't tilled the soil, you haven't weeded, you haven't gone and watered it and done all the things that it's required to reap the benefits of that sowing the seed. And sometimes in life we can be fooled into thinking that we can actually do that, because how many of us have actually crammed for a test the night before and gotten away with it? But the thing is that it always catches up with us. When we are later in life, maybe at university or in our job, and we can't remember what we crammed for that exam, we might actually think, well, actually, yeah, I got the knowledge, but I didn't get the education. I can't retrieve that right now. I can't reap the benefits of that right now. And that's the law of the farm, is that there is this principle at play that if we want great health, we've got to do something to get it. Okay, so to prove this point, or to demonstrate this point, this is a mustard seed. Well, these are mustard seeds, and they're so tiny. And this is one close up. You can see how tiny it is. You can barely see it on the fingertip of that hand. The thing that is so surprising about a mustard seed is that it's the tiniest of seeds, but yet it grows up to be this enormous, gigantic, majestic tree. The smallest of things can really give you in proportionate results. And that's what a food rhythm is. And that's the message I wanted to get across to you guys. Food rhythms are like planting a mustard seed and yielding a massive tree. So why is it like that? One, because food rhythms are small, they're attached to a trigger, they are habitual, so you don't have to think about them, and they give back more than you give. So mistake number 1 was forgetting that we actually do need to do something to reap the benefit of great health. We forget the law of the farm. Mistake number 2, you guys, is that we set goals without an anchor. How many of you, this is not a rhetorical question. I would love to see comments in the thread. How many of you have set a goal or an intention and really believed hard out that you would achieve it, but yet somehow it just fell off? You didn't actually follow through. You didn't do the thing. And you're like, oh, I guess I suck at goals. Something like that, So let me know. Habit stacking, you guys, is a concept that's pioneered by James Clear in his book, Atomic Habits. Jordan loves this book. I'm yet to read it fully, but he's been telling me lots of the principles. Habit stacking is designed to designed to help you incorporate more healthy behaviors into your life without disrupting your normal routine. Now, that's my idea of a great principle at play. And yes, lots of you are saying that the habits can fall off the bandwagon. And it's nice to hear that we're actually not all perfect in this group. We all are human. And so habit stacking is this, you guys. James Clear says it in his book. After or before current habit, I will new habit. So here's some examples. After I pour my cup of coffee, I will meditate for a minute. After I take off my work shoes, I will change into my workout clothes. After I sit down to dinner, I will say one thing that I'm grateful for today. After I get into bed at night, I will give my partner a kiss, etc., etc. Before I leave my bedroom, I will stretch for 10 minutes. So it doesn't have to be after, it can be before, right? So you get the idea. What you want to do is you want to attach the new habit you want to an existing habit you have, because brain science is very clear on this. If you basically, your existing habits are very well worn into your brain, there is a much higher likelihood of you following through on the goals that you want in life if you attach it to an existing goal. It's a trigger, right? And so I don't have any notes. I'm just going on the slides, so I'm hoping it's actually what I want. Okay, so what I want you to do, I want you to attach your food rhythms that we're going to talk about tonight, and maybe you'll come up with your own as well, which I'd love to hear. I want you to attach those things to something you're already doing. Now, I gave you some examples there. It could be your morning coffee. It could be breakfast, could be getting up out of bed, could be brushing your teeth. Any of those things that you do every single day without even thinking, I want you to attach a new habit to that one. So before or after I do that thing, I will do this new thing. Okay, so the beauty of this is that it is quite simple. You want to keep it small. You want to keep it simple. It may not be anything that you haven't thought of doing before, and it's definitely not rocket science, but the majority of people are not doing this stuff. And we don't want to be like the majority of people, because if we're going to be like everyone, we're going to get average results with our health. Like, I'm speaking about health right now. If we're going to follow the trends and be like the average person in terms of their habits around health, we're going to get pretty average results. It makes sense. But the thing is with those average results is that they're actually not very great. Like, they're actually pretty terrible results. So we actually want to be able to step out of the pack and actually embrace the things that will lift us up out of those habits that haven't been working for us. This is Madonna. She sang that song. Do not know what it's called right now, but what you need is a big, strong hand to lift you to higher ground. You know that song? What you need is that one. You know it, right? I want to say that we actually don't need a big, strong hand most of the time. What we need most of the time is our own big, strong hand, and we need to lift ourselves up and out of the place we're in. There is no one coming to save us, you guys. That was actually, I know it sounds silly, but when I realized one day in my victim martyr mentality that no one was coming to save me, it was actually up to me to lift myself out of the situation, to come up with some solutions. That was actually quite powerful. So what we want to do is we want to be just outside of our comfort zone with these habits. We want to keep them small and simple. And if you're part of the No Fuss Nourish membership, you'll know what shuffling means. And what we want to do is we want to shuffle just that little bit. We don't want to be asleep on the chair. We kind of, oh, there's a slide missing. Oh, okay. So if the members that are in here, express yourself, Bianca, that's it. In the module, Bye Food Refusal, in the No Fuss Nourish membership, we talk about this shuffling process, which helps kids desensitize to food. But we're going to apply that to us right now. We want to be just outside that comfort zone. So we're not asleep, we're not lounging back in the chair, but we are kind of just sitting upright, but we're super comfy. That's the kind of place we want to be, just outside the comfort zone. I really should have had notes, you guys. But let's just skip to mistake number 3, shall we? Mistake number 3. 1 was we forget the law of the farm. 2 was we don't attach an anchor to our new habit, right? Number 3 is we run solo. Okay, back to Lisa's survey. 81% of women claim that the domestic load was their biggest source of energy drain. And almost 70% said that they're that way because they're not looking after their own needs. But not only that, I'm going to have to zoom in here to see this exact percentage. 87.8% of women find it hard to ask for help. Now, that's going to lead us into this. You are probably, because you're the one that's shown up here, you're probably the one in your family who carries the mental load around food. You probably plan the food, you probably shop for the food, you probably prep most of the food, and you're probably cooking most of the time as well, maybe even cleaning up after it as well. That's a whole lot of load for you to be carrying. And to be honest, I carry most of the food load in my home too, and I'm completely okay with that because it makes sense for someone to be delegated a project, right? And the food project is mine. I plan for it, I shop for it, but I don't do everything. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. This is my husband, Jordan. He probably wouldn't like that. Hopefully he doesn't mind that photo being up there. It's not the best of him. But what I want to say is this. He will cook at least once a week. It does help that he's probably a better cook than I am. But even if he weren't, I would still expect him to help at least once a night. Like once a week. Like that's a novelty, right? Here he is.
Hello.
Thank you. I was just showing a picture of you.
Here's a real picture. Is that how you like it?
Thank you. That's great.
All right. I didn't know it was honey or lemon.
Yeah, it's not usually together. I asked. Long story. I'll just stay focused on the webinar.
Okay.
But
See ya.
We're going to run out of time. But I have an interesting drink here. So one night a week. I'll tell him you said hi, Megan. One night a week is like a novelty. Like there is no way that people can get their knickers in a knot for cooking one night a week, right? So you've got 7 days of the week. He's going to cook one of those nights. And usually that's going to be on a night where I've got appointments late at night or whatever. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. Okay. So, oh my gosh, the notes. So one night a week, your partner should totally be able to help out and cook. Now, I know that you might feel some resistance to that, maybe because your partner can't cook to save themselves, maybe because you don't think they're going to be willing, maybe because you think they're so busy as well. I would actually like to know how you feel about that concept in the comments. Remembering almost 90% of us, I think it was, or maybe 70 or 90% of us. Single mom, Lashona, I'm going to get to you in a second. I haven't forgotten about you. So many of us have trouble asking for help. And what I want to say is that this is very much a cultural issue as well, is that we feel like it's just our job, that we're actually denying the people we love of skills they need as well and an opportunity to contribute. Okay, so here we go. I'm actually not going to stop there. It's not just your partner, if you have one, that should be cooking one night a week. And this is my opinion, obviously take it or leave it. But in my opinion, they should be cooking once a week. But I'm not going to actually stop there. I'm going to take it a bit further. If you have kids who are 12 years old or over and who are capable, each of them could be cooking one night a week as well. Now, I know, don't give up on me just yet. I have a little bit more to share with you. But if you have a child yet 12 or over, how many nights a week could you, if your partner's cooking one, if you've got one, and I'll get to those who don't have one, and you've got maybe one maybe 2 older kids who can capably cook. And if they're not capable just yet, I'll get to that as well. But what could that mean for you? And I can see some of your comments there. Megan says, I do feel resistant. I'm a stay-at-home mum, so I feel like it's my responsibility. And look, Megan, if you're not overwhelmed with it and you do feel like you have the time, and I'm not saying that you do just because you're a stay-at-home mum, because I've been a stay-at-home mum for many of my years, and I feel like it's still a very big, massive job that can still be very overwhelming. If you are not overwhelmed and you're quite happy to continue with it, then maybe don't take on this food rhythm. But if you are in a place where like, you know what, I am overwhelmed and I've got all these things that I am doing, like so many partners would not mind helping out. And I'm going to get to sometimes if they're a bit resistant, I'm going to be talking about in just a minute. Laura, my husband loves to cook. It's about me letting him. Alison, my partner, is good at helping in the kitchen. He's just very slow. I get it. So Alison and Laura, it might take a little bit of letting go and practice, but if you let it happen, you can reap the benefits and your partner will probably feel great that they're actually getting to do this once in a while. My husband is disabled, Amy says, so he can't help cook. He only has the use of one hand. Look, and totally and that's like similar to Megan, like pick and choose some of these food rhythms. And Amy, what I would suggest to you is that you listen into this next tip I'm going to give as well. I can see so many more comments, but Carrie says, so you've outsourced your cooking with your tribe of kids, kind of. I'll get to that in a second. So these are essential skills for the people in your life who you love. Now, remember my story of being incapable when I left home. Didn't know how to cook. My flatmate left me a note one day when she left for work and said, can you clean the bathroom today? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm going to clean the bathroom today. So I cleaned the bathroom today. When she got home, she said, why didn't you clean the bathroom? I was like, I did clean the bathroom. I just didn't know how to do it. And so I wish that I had been given these skills as a person growing up. Like everyone, male, female, should know how to clean a toilet and scrub a shower and cook a few basic meals. Like even if it's just one go-to meal that they learn and master, practice, and they get it, like how awesome is that? So if you don't have a partner at home, what I want you to do is this. I want you to consider your community and your friends. I'll tell you a little story first. When we had 3 young kids, we lived down in Lismore, New South Wales. We didn't really know anyone except we did know 2 families really well. One was my sister-in-law's family and the other was a friend we made down there. They all had little kids and we shared life quite a lot together. And so what we actually realized one day is what we had available to us was this potential to each take one day a week where we took each other's kids and made this big bulk meal for all 3 families. And so 2 days a week, we actually got a whole day off with no cooking and a day to ourselves. Now, that's quite a big undertaking. But even if you just do the meals and find one friend, consider who's in your friendship circle and consider like, is there someone that I could actually strike up this old school community vibe deal with? Like that is such a beautiful part, like the village mentality that we have lost. And that was just such a wonderful phase of life. Like it wouldn't work for us these days because our kids are older. We eat differently to a lot of people. And it's just so many people for people to cook for. So it wouldn't work now. But for that stage of life, far out, it was amazing. And so I want you to consider like, could that work for you? Like I know that a lot of you will resist that right off the bat because it's like, oh, I couldn't possibly ask anyone to do that. But my goodness, what a gift you are offering someone. And if they say no, so what? Like, that's cool. Consider who's in your friendship circle. And if you really can't think of anyone, what would you do to benefit the way that I'm speaking of from having a night off where you can actually do some other things? Could you go onto a Facebook group that's local of like-minded mums perhaps and say, hey, who wants to have a night off a week who can both cook for each other's families? Who's got 1 kid or 2 kid or 3 kids of this age? Like, you know, similar type of demographic, whatever. What would you do to be able to lighten your load and to actually create a little bit of breathing space of that luxurious white space in your life where you're not just constantly chasing your tail, constantly in that stress cortisol mode where you just go all the time? This is what we need to address. And these are the ways that we can actually realistically do it. So instead of dismissing ideas, and I'm not saying you are, but I know that many people will go, oh, I don't know if I could do that. Instead, just experiment with it, give it a go, and see what happens. I'll have to get back to those comments in a bit. Now, if you don't have kids who are old enough to contribute, that is okay. What you want to do is still assign those younger kids or those kids who are not quite capable yet, who haven't had much practice in the kitchen, who might be teenagers. That's cool. What you want to do is still assign them a night of the week, but you're going to help them alongside. Like, they're going to help you alongside you. It's going to make your job, for the most part, quicker. If they're really tiny, it could make it longer, but it's a great investment into your future self. Your future self will thank you for that. So let's just imagine your partner, if you've got one, or a friend, is cooking one night of the week, and maybe you've got 2 kids who are helping on the other nights or who might be cooking. Like, that's 3 nights off a week. I'm not going to stop there. But what I want to say is that these tiny food rhythms of actually training your loved ones up with skills they need in life in a way that they can contribute and feel good about and take on to the rest of their life, that's a small mustard seed, right? Like, it's really not that big a deal. But that can grow into gigantic results. And for me, I'm reaping the benefits, not just because I have 5 kids, but I'll tell you why. Just real quick, though, one fun way that we used to do this with the little kids when they were learning is that we would call it Chef of the Week. And they would get this cute little, from the dollar shop, I got this cute little apron and chef hat, and they'd put it on. And it would be our special time. It would kind of be like a little at-home date. And it would just be such a nice way for us to connect and bond. And of course, it wasn't all perfect and roses, but that was just such a nice way that we could do it. And before long, you'll be sitting under the shade of your own big, massive mustard tree. And that's how powerful these food rhythms can be. That's how powerful sharing the load can be. Because by getting that little bit of relief from your constant duties that you have, you're able to retain a positive feeling around serving your family and nourishing your family, because so often we can fall into that trap of negativity and martyr mentality. And like, this is a way that we can pull ourselves up with our big strong hand out of that situation. And I acknowledge that there are many families who do have certain situations that do make that difficult or maybe even impossible. But that's an idea for you to consider. And don't underestimate your kids either. Like, even if they, depending on what disability or special needs they might have, consider a way that they might be able to help. Like, is there a task that they could do to just help alongside you? That would just take 10 minutes off your time? Is there something that they can do to take the load off? Okay. Now, I want to let you know that my family, I've got 5 kids and a partner that gives me 6 days off a week. It's actually not reality. So my older kids do have jobs. They've got extracurricular activities. So they end up not really cooking each one night of the week. I typically have probably 2, maybe one or 2 nights off with the kids, plus Jordan. That's, 2 or 3 nights off a week with other people in the family cooking dinner. But now what I want to talk about is this. What about the cleanup? Like, that is also part of the load, right? I would like to know, how many of you have everyone clean up after dinner? Or is it just you? Or is it just your partner? Like, how does that roll with you guys? Because I want to say that this used to be, well, in the early days, actually, let me just scoot forward. I think I've got a slide for that. In the early days, it used to be basically me. Like, when the kids were young, we'd tag team it. Jordan would do bath time, I'd do cleanup, or vice versa. And then, when they're young, you can't get around that stuff, but it does pass. But what I want to say is this: quite often it was falling on me, and Jordan is so wonderful and he's so willing to help. And I don't want to just please understand, he is amazing. But he would sometimes go and watch TV after dinner, and I would be cleaning the kitchen. And yes, granted, I was a stay-at-home mum at that point, but it just never sat right with me. Like, it just kind of niggled at me. And I was like, if one of us is working, I feel like both of us should be working. We're a team. And then when it's finished, we can both relax together. So what I want to say is that this culture of all pulling together as a team and not just being the one doing everything, like that culture doesn't just automatically happen. Like you have to, like I was going to say, yeah, but if everyone eats, everyone cleans up. That's my mentality. But find what works for you. When I said about the early days with kids who are young and it's a bit hard to kind of have other people helping, your kids are too little, the days are long, but the years are short, as they say. So have them do what they're capable of. Like if they're tiny, they can still empty the dishwasher. They can still take the plates off the table to the kitchen. They can still wipe a bench. Like get them doing something that builds a culture of that team environment where you're all pulling together. That's what a family is. Like a family is not having the mum just do everything for everyone. Your role is so much bigger than that. And a lot of us are overwhelmed. So if they're a little bit older, they can actually start washing the dishes or stacking the dishwasher and this is the last point I wanted to make, is that my teenagers, well, actually all the kids, they're actually not allowed to leave the table until we're all done and until we've all helped out to clean up. And that is a culture that we have had to build over time as they've grown and as my ability to step into that place where I can ask for help has come along. And now, like, it's a team effort, you guys. I love to hear, Anna, you're all working as a team. Jelena doesn't have a dishwasher. Okay, so take turns, kids. I know Jelena has a few older kids, so that's totally doable. Okay, I'm going to keep moving because it is getting on. What I want to ask you is, can you see the power of sharing the load? And I know that, yes, there are limitations to how we can share the load with our individual situations. But what I want us to start looking for is like, what are the ways? There will be a way. What is the way or the ways that we can share the load? Because I can guarantee you there is a way for you to share the load. And if you can't identify a way for you to share the load, put it in the comments. There's a whole community of people here who are all here, on the same topic together. Let's brainstorm together for you to see how you can share the load. So put your situation in the comments. Let's see who can help each other out with some ideas. And if you've got an idea, put it in the comments too. I want everyone to sort of brainstorm together on how you can share the load because it's so important. Okay, now before we move on, I want to say this. Hang on. I've already said that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, while you guys are putting your comments in that chat, I'm going to remove this one from the screen and I'm going to put this one in. Now, I'm going to breeze through these food rhythms. Are you okay if I take another half hour? Or shall I come back tomorrow and do the half hour then? Let me know. There's a bit of a delay. Are you okay for me to keep going for half an hour? Natasha says yes. Kerry, half an hour is fine. All right. Okay, you guys, Amy has something there that she would like some advice on. Can anyone give her some advice? My husband works long hours and isn't usually home until after the kids are in bed, so not sure how to share the load. It all falls on me all the time. Amy, I feel for you. And I know, Amy, your husband also has the ability for one-hand use as well, I know. So how old are your kids, Amy? Can we get that from you? And let's see if we can get some advice for you. I won't visit that again personally right now because I've got to move on. So Sherry, there will be a replay and it will be available for a couple of days. If you need to go to bed, I understand. For those who are going to go to bed now and not stay for the half hour that I'll stick to now, what I want to say is this. Tomorrow I'm going to send you a message. If you are feeling like you're in a position where you could do with some support and some hand holding and basically just be given your one next right thing to do for your family in terms of nutrition or for your own sanity, we are opening the doors to the No Fuss Nourished Method membership. And that is, you can watch the replay for the details, but I just love what we've created there because we're a community of people all helping each other, but also you get that one piece of content delivered straight to your messenger inbox each week that just kind of takes the mental load away, and you can just go, oh, I don't really have to think about what to do. I don't have to be confused about the road ahead. I can just go, oh, okay, here's my one thing. Let's just do that. So that's what I want to say about that. But food rhythm number 1, you guys. The 3 and 7 freedom formula. Now, I do love this one, and it kind of flows on from what we've spoken about just a little. Now, for those who feel like they can't share the load with their partner or their friend or their kids, you're going to want to listen to this one, because the 3 and 7 formula basically means that instead of cooking 7 nights a week, you can cook right down to maybe 3 nights a week. And if you're not getting any sharing the load, then maybe call it 4, but that's still a hell of a lot better than 7. So how would you feel about cooking 3 to 4 nights a week? Like, would be amazeballs. So it all begins with a simple 10-minute appointment with yourself. And this is what it all hinges on. And if you don't do that, then you can kiss goodbye to your 3 and 7. Okay, so that's how important this 10-minute appointment with yourself is. So before I tell you what to do, I want you to show a little bit of faith, and you've shown up, you've got a little bit of faith in me. What I want you to do is grab your phone out right now and set a trigger, an alarm. Now, remember the habit stacking? You know, you're going to attach a new habit to an existing habit. What I want to do now, like, that's a trigger. That's what helps us follow through. So what I want you to do now is think of a time in your week where you reliably have a 10-minute window of time where you can have a 10-minute appointment with yourself. Ideally, it's going to be when any older kids or partner are home too, so you can confer with them, but I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But I want you to set an alarm on your phone right now for that time of the week that you think you can have a reliable, repeatable 10-minute appointment with yourself. Maybe it's 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Maybe it's 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Whatever it is, just have a think right now. Set that alarm on your phone, okay? Trust me. For those who are doing it, congratulations. You are one step further to having that habit stacking success with your habits. Like, this is what's going to make the difference. So then I want you, excuse me, I need that drink that Jordan made. It's kind of funky tasting. I'll tell you what it is. It's bone broth, but I also asked for a tablespoon of honey so my throat didn't go croaky, and he mixed it together. So it's bone broth with honey, which is quite strange. So when that alarm goes off on your phone, what I want you to do is grab a pen and paper and just write Monday to Sunday down the side, 3 columns along the top, just like that on the screen. Once you've done that, the 3 columns are what's on, type, and dinner. I know the logo's in front of dinner. Let's talk about that column, what's on. What I want you to do with what's on is just write down what you've got on in the afternoons or the evenings that day, or simply what time you'll arrive home. And the reason that you're going to do that is simply to be aware of your schedule, be realistic with the meals that you're planning, and save you from yourself. I don't know if you're like me, but I used to plan 7 meals for the week, and I would just go crazy and like find all these new recipes that I wanted to try and like not really care about how long they took, and I'd just chuck it on the meal plan. That's not realistic. That is going to set you up for failure. What I want you to do is be aware of how much time you have each day to realistically spend making dinner. My column looks something like this. Monday, Sophia's got horse riding, but mum drives her, so I'm home. Tuesday, 2 of the girls have an appointment, so I don't walk through the door till 5:30. Wednesday, we've got crazy stuff on. We've got soccer and youth group, and Jordan and I have an appointment on a Wednesday as well. Thursday is stuff. Like, it's just stuff, right? After school, like once you get kids, your schedule just fills up and you're not reliably home in time to make this beautiful dinner every night, right? You can see there on the Friday that I've got in brackets, fridge. What I want to say about that before I tell you the rest of the what's on is this. I know this is totally unsexy and it's a little bit of a deviation, but it's actually surprisingly important. Friday's my fridge clean out day, you guys. I do it every week because it's one of my food rhythms. It saves my Saturdays because I go to the farmer's market on a Saturday. I come home with all this fresh produce. And if my fridge is not ready to accept that food, then I'm going to spend more of my Saturday cleaning out my fridge. No, thank you. I've done that and I don't like it. And if I don't clean it out on the Friday and I don't clean it out on the Saturday, then I'm just going to shove all that fresh produce on top of the old stuff that's still in the fridge. It's going to be chaos. No one's going to be able to find anything. So we're going to eat less of the beautiful food that I just bought, and there'll be more wastage at the end of the week because when you finally clean it out. So here's the thing I want to say. An orderly cleaned out fridge actually does create this entirely different feeling for the entire week for everyone who prepares food in your family. And you'll have a greater chance of sharing the load if people can actually navigate their way around the fridge. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. But basically, right now, just set a little extra trigger for the day before you go food shopping to clean out your fridge, okay? Because when you have to go shopping and then clean out the fridge on the same day, that's kind of how many of us feel, right? So set your trigger right now for the fridge clean out. And maybe that's a good day to have an odds and ends day, like just use up all the leftover veg that's in the fridge, right? So that's Friday. Saturday and Sunday, beach barbecue we'd try to have once a week on the weekend if it's summer. And then Sunday, we've got this extended family dinner that we sometimes have. So that's my kind of example of my what's on column. Yours will obviously look different. When your alarm goes off, fill yours out. Now, when it comes to type, there are 6 options for type. I'm going to fly through. It's all very simple, so it's not going to be hard to understand. The types of dinners that you can make, that you can assign in these columns is 1, a batch cook. And obviously that's for those nights that you've got a bit more time that you can make a larger batch for another night. 2, you're going to benefit from that batch cook and just pull a meal out of the freezer. 3, kids or partner cook from sharing the load. 4, a quick dinner that's, under 30 minutes for those nights that that you've already identified how much time you have. And so you're like, well, I can't make a meal that's going to take longer than 30 minutes, but I've got 30 minutes. There you go. That's a meal there. An emergency dinner. I guess I can't guarantee you this, but I think a lot of families out there might include it at least once a week. Things go awry or our schedule is just so full that we literally walk through the door and it's bedtime. We haven't fed the kids. We've got to feed them something. And so that's called an emergency dinner. And then the last option is a yo-yo night. I used to call this snacks for dinner, but my friend Kylie, her family calls it yo-yo. You're on your own night, basically. Now, I know those with little tiny kids, this won't really work very well for, but for those who have mid, tweens and above, my kids get so excited for this night because, we've just got Whole Foods at home. So like anything they choose is going to be fine. They usually go for, I'll tell you what they go for soon. But there are 6 types of dinners, right? For the 3rd column, you just got to identify what meal you're going to make, right? So for a batch cook, there's some ideas, but it all makes sense. Go to Pinterest for batch cooking if you're not sure. Frozen, you don't need to identify it because you're just going to pull it out of the freezer. Consider scheduling that night for your food shopping night because, again, just like cleaning out the fridge, when you have to go to the grocery store and make dinner on the same day, that's how you can feel. So when it's a partner or kids cook night, I want you to, in this 10-minute appointment with yourself, take a moment, and this is why you might want to schedule that time for a time that they're there to confer with. Ask them what they would like to cook. The more buy-in they have, the greater chance of success you're going to have of them cooking. And if you're not happy, if you think they're going to suggest something like those McCain frozen chips and the frozen chicken nuggets, give them a few options to choose from of a pre-approved list. They still have choice. They still have buy-in, but you're happy with it. Display it on the fridge. Like if you've got a fridge calendar like we do on a family calendar on the fridge like we do, just pop their name on the day so they can visually be reminded, and that will give you a great chance of it going well. Now, the quick dinner is you're going to want familiar recipes. No new recipes here, please, because when you have a new recipe, that is very slow going. You are going back to that recipe time and time again. It's not rhythmic. It's not habitual. You're not in the flow. Choose recipes that that are simple. There's some ideas there for family fun nights. I'm not going to go into them right now because we don't have time. Emergency dinners, you guys. I'm not actually going to go into these either, but what I want to say is that in the ebook I am giving you all my family's go-to emergency dinners. Again, dinners in 5 to 10 minutes, usually 5 minutes. That's the definition of an emergency dinner. It just helps you not get that takeout. It helps you just still nourish your family. These are nourishing meals. It's not like you're not cutting and skipping corners on nutrition. They're really good. So check out the ebook for that. Or come up with your own. Yo-yo night is going to be similar, but my kids' go-tos are pancakes. They're pancake fanatics, always have been. Toasties with baked beans or tomato and a good organic wholemeal bread. Smoothies, guacamole and corn chips, or pesto and crackers and carrot sticks, all sorts of stuff. Someone said, am I still going? Can someone please tell me if I'm still broadcasting, like if I'm still alive, if you can still see me? Okay. All right. Yes. Thank you. Just put me off there for a minute. Okay. So you guys, this is an example of what this 10-minute appointment with myself will look like by the end. Okay. So on that night that I know that I'm home because Mum's driving Sophia to horse riding, I'm going to have a batch cooking night because I've got the time that night. And I'm going to have Max help. Help is my son, Max. So I'm going to have Max help me. He's not yet capable to make a full meal, but by him helping me, he's growing in his capabilities. And like his older 3 sisters, will be able to do a meal all by himself within a couple of years. And then I've just identified what the batch cooked meal will be, like vegetable, chicken, soup, and toast, like something like that. Now, you can see here that on Jordan's night to cook, he's very good at making spaghetti, and we do it in a boosted way. The asterisk there is because when you're doing this, I want you to consider how you can multi-purpose this meal. My kids won't take spaghetti to school for lunch, but they will take pasta bake. So we make extra bolognese sauce. We just whack some pasta onto boil in the morning, put it together, and they've got pasta bake for their school lunch. Only 3 of them will take it. The little 2 won't take meals. Go figure. Frozen meal. You can see here, I'm not going to go through all of the details, but basically Kaya's night to cook there on the Thursday. She works at a Mexican place. She loves Mexican, so she's going to make Mexican bowls. It has an asterisk because she will then take a Mexican bowl for school the next day, but the others won't. However, if we make extra guacamole, they will take it with corn chips. And so just think about, like, is there a portion of this meal that I can multi-purpose, repurpose, make my day easier tomorrow and have guacamole on hand? Like, don't just make enough for what you need. Here you go. I'm not going to keep going through with this, but what I want to say is this. The pink squares, you guys, are the nights that I'm actually cooking, right? And like even on that Saturday where it's a lighter pink, that's a beach barbecue burger. Like I've literally bought the burger buns from the farmer's market. They've got really nice organic rolls, and I've bought the patties from the nice local butcher. Like I'm at a stage in my life where I'm going to do those things because I want my life to be easier. I have no shame in doing that. Of course, I could make my own rolls and I could make my own patties, and some people may love to do that. And there was a time that I loved to do that as well, but not right now. And so really, I'm kind of only cooking 2 nights a week, and that's a realistic week. I've only got 1 child cooking for the week. My partner's cooking as well, so that's 2. But I've got a frozen meal. I've got an emergency dinner, or a yo-yo night, actually. You can see that these simple little things that you can so easily dismiss and go, yeah, I know to do that. But like, that's how it can compile and transform your week, right? Like, please also notice in that column, there's only 1 dinner for the night. I am not making more than 1 meal for my family. And as Georgia Harding from Well Nourished says, 1 family, 1 meal. Now, some of you, again, will resist that. But if you're at a place where you feel like you want that, but you can't quite see how to do that because your kids are this or that and you can't eat that or they won't eat that, there's a module in the No Fuss Nourish membership that talks about, it's called Bye Bye Food Refusal. And it's, I'll spare the details because we're rushing right now to finish on time. But I want you to go through that module if you're a member, and if you're not, you can access it through the link that I'll give you, or you can buy it separately if you don't want to join the membership. But that is going to help you do 1 family, 1 meal. Like that's how it gets done. And there's been a lot of success with those principles already. Okay. When it comes, this is back to Lisa Corduff's survey, creator of the Change Room, Lisa Corduff. When it comes to creating change in their lives, 52% of women know what they should be doing, but they're not doing it, which is, she's got a comment here too, which is fair enough given that you're tired and distracted and not prioritizing you, which was the other findings of the survey. But here's the thing, like I just said, we kind of know that this is what we should do, but we just go, oh yeah, it's kind of it's basic, whatever. But Brendan Bouchard, who I love, says, common sense is not always common practice. Let's make it common practice. This 10-minute appointment with yourself is going to reduce that overwhelm and frustration in your life. And when that trigger or that alarm goes off in your phone, it's up to you to actually follow through and get it done. Dr. Libby Weaver, who you know I love, she says, she often asks the question, why do we do what we do, even though we know what we know? Like, why do we still remain overwhelmed? Why do we still remain like chasing our tails all the damn time? When we know the basics of this stuff, we know that we can do a batch cook. We know that we can pull a meal out of the freezer. We know that we could just declare you're on your own night or an emergency night, and you're still going to have your family nourished. Nothing's going to fall apart. You could do that once a week and feel zero shame or guilt or anything. We can ask the people who love us to help us out one night a week. Like, that's just being part of a team. This is the stuff we can do. So why do we continue not doing it? That's what I want to know. Okay, food rhythm number 2. We're going to breeze through this one. This one's very quick anyway. The 1-minute morning check-in. Okay. This may surprise you, but I'm not perfect all the time at eating whole foods, right? There are still times where I will succumb to some chocolate and some empty toast or like just I can choose foods that are not always going to help me, right? It's not always going to energize me and lift me. In those times, and I can probably say, yeah, I'm sure you're the same, right? You can relate to that. So in those times, usually I do that because I haven't prepared. I am hungry by the time I realize that there's food in front of me. That is the option that I really don't want to have, but I'm hungry already and I'm busy and it's there. So I'll just have it, right? Like, that is a similar reason, I'm sure, for you guys as well. So this food rhythm is so tiny, it's easy to dismiss again, but it has that power to transform your day and your ability to stick to those wellness goals you have for nutrition for yourself, and also remove that afternoon stress of like, what's for dinner today? Or like, oh, I don't have the ingredients for that meal that I've just decided to make. And oh, I'll have to go to the shops, etc., etc. There is no room for that, because you're going to set your trigger right now before I tell you what it is, because you trust me, right? I want you to set a trigger, an alarm on your phone for a time of the day, a time of the morning where you know you're pretty well going to be in the kitchen. For me, that's 7 a.m. because I'm in there doing breakfast and helping the kids do their lunches. 7 a.m. is kind of my time to be in the kitchen. So I'm going to set my alarm on my phone for 7 a.m. I want you to give it a special label. It's called Linna with a question mark. You can see that's a screenshot of my phone, 7 a.m. every day, Linna, and set it to repeat. Select Monday through Sunday to repeat. What this will do, Linna is my cute little name for it. It's like a smushed together version of lunch and dinner, Linna. And it's just going to trigger your mind to consider, oh, what did I plan for dinner tonight? Do I need to get some meat out of the freezer to defrost? Or do I need to take that batch cooked meal that I made last week out of the freezer to defrost so I can come home and eat it straight away? Do I need to soak that rice or those beans? Like, is there like, if I have 10 minutes right now, like maybe I could just make the guacamole for Mexican tonight ahead of time, so I'm saving myself time later. Just consider, like, just triggers your mind to go, oh, that's right, I've got to eat again tonight. What was the plan? Oh, yep, that 10-minute appointment with myself. I made a plan. It's that meal. What have I got to do? So that's going to save you coming home at 5:30 in the afternoon going, oh, I planned the frozen meal, but I didn't take it out of the freezer. Something like that, right? It's also going to trigger you to think about lunch. Do you have leftovers from dinner last night that you can eat for lunch? Do you have some leftover rice and a can of tuna that you can combine with whatever salad's in the fridge? Like, do you have some eggs that you can do scrambled eggs? Like, what have you got available to you? Because I find that if I'm at home for the day, just deciding ahead of time what I'm going to eat later for lunch streamlines my whole day and takes away that temptation for those quick and empty alternatives that I just told you about. And if I'm out for the day, taking lunch with me is obviously a day saver. And what I usually do for that is, if I haven't had a smoothie for breakfast, I'll consider going, oh, I'm out for the day. I'll whip up a smoothie now. I'll put it in my insulated jar and off I go. And there's no need for me to grab anything. So what I want you to do is set that trigger for Linna, and you'll be thanking yourself. It's such a quick and easy 1-minute morning check-in that really, like, is quite powerful. Cool. I'm glad you guys are liking it. Okay, if you don't like the idea of a alarm on your phone, what I want you to do is consider that habit stacking principle from James Clear, Atomic Habits. Think about attaching this new habit to an existing one. So if you're going out to the kitchen every morning for coffee, put a little write with permanent marker on your kettle, Lina, or put a post-it note on the fridge, whatever you need to do, just get it done. Again, simple, but are you doing it? We've spoken about Brendan already. All right, food rhythm number 3. This is the last one, and I'm going to fly through because I said I'd finish in half an hour. So this one's called high yield shopping hacks. There's 2 things I want to say about this. The first one's very quick, and hopefully a lot of you are doing this already. Shop once a week on the same day of the week, period. Do not go back to that shop more than once. Surely there'll be some exceptions, maybe sometimes, but generally speaking, once a week is heaps, okay? And get home delivery if you can. We need to find ways to make our life easier, and we are shooting ourselves in the foot if we don't have a 10-minute appointment with ourselves so that we're clear on what we need for the week and we just get it done once a week and then click that button for home delivery if you can. If you're using a supermarket, I'd go to a farmer's market and then also get a home delivery from the supermarket because I don't feel like going to the supermarket after I've just been to the farmer's market. Just make your life easy. So the second thing that I want to say for the high yield shopping hacks, and this is really where it's at. This is my magic formula for my gosh, I've written smoothie so many times in my life that when I went to write smooth, I wrote smoothie. So magic formula for a smooth week. When you come home from shopping and you have all that produce sitting on your kitchen bench, ready to just shove away in the fridge and then collapse on the couch, I want you to just pause for a moment and consider what each of those things that you've bought are destined to make. Most weeks I'll buy a cauliflower that's intended to be prepped for smoothies. I just steam it, blend it, put it in ice cube trays and in the freezer. I will buy a bunch of spinach and basil to make pesto. There's quite a few things that I kind of just like to routinely do, right? And so if I'm just going to shove all that in the fridge to prep for another day, how likely is that I'm actually going to do it? Maybe yes, maybe I will. But how much more does it increase the odds if I just do it now while everything's on the bench? If most of the things you need to do that thing are sitting on the bench and you're going to have to double handle it, put it away, set aside some time later in the week to pull it all out and do that prep session, can we consider just doing it now? And yes, this is something that will take an extra 10 minutes of your time, but you're going to save yourself a whole session later of food prep, and you're just going to get it done. So if one of your health goals is to have more greens in your life, and the way that you've decided that you can have more greens in your life is through a pesto, because you've got so much that goes into the pesto, the blender smushes it down into this paste and is easily consumed for the week. Now's your best time to do it. And if you are looking after yourself, if you are starting your day with a great breakfast and you are kind of putting the wheels in motion that we've spoken about already so that you are protecting your time, you're not feeling too ragged and haggard and overwhelmed, you will find that you come home and you're not dead tired. Put the blocks in place for you to feel good. That's number one. If you feel good, everything else will follow. Your kids will see your example. They'll follow suit. You'll be able to nourish them better because you're feeling more energized and better as well. So just take the extra 10 minutes, and it's more of a mental game than anything else, because if shopping took an extra 10 minutes, we wouldn't even think about it, right? But being home where we could go sit on the couch, taking the extra 10 minutes is more of a mental game, right? So here's some ideas for those times. Like I said, pesto, smoothie prep, you might just want to blend up, steam and blend anything that you're going to be freezing for smoothies. Like many of you have done the smoothie challenge will understand what I'm talking about. You might want to just spiralize that beetroot you just bought or the carrots and put it in a container in the fridge so that you can have grab and on the go stuff to make little poke bowls or butter balls for your lunches, like so you can just quickly grab it and go. I make an immunity drink most weeks where I just blend up turmeric and ginger and lemon and a bit of raw honey and cayenne pepper. I just blend it up and then I put it in a glass jar in the fridge and I have a little bit each day. And so I'm just like, well, you know what? I've got it all out here. Instead of putting it away, I'll just blend it up now and put it in the fridge. I'm not going to talk about the snack box. That's for younger kids. We don't have time, so we'll have to do that some other time. Your habit stacking trigger for this one, you actually don't need one. It's just your food shop, right? You're tacking on a new habit, which is just prepping the stuff that you bring home before you put it away. That's your new habit, and you're attaching it to an existing habit, which is food shopping. We all go food shopping each week, and that's the trigger. That's the attachment you're going to make. And Kerry, you have lemon juice daily when it's juiced in advance. Like totally, yes. Like how much better is your life going to be in terms of healthier habits when things are done? Natasha, if you go to our recipe website, it's called the Cold Killer Elixir. If you Google that, you'll probably see it, but I'll make sure it's in the ebook. I think I haven't added that one, so I'll have to add that one tomorrow. So you guys, I wanted to add on more food rhythms, but I kind of knew that time would tick away. So we've done 3 mistakes and 3 food rhythms that really can make such a difference. So let's just quickly summarize. Mistake number 1 is we forget the law of the farm. We've got to do something to be healthy, right? Mistake number 2, we set our goals without an anchor. We need that habit stacking formula from James Clear. We need something that's going to remind us, whether it's an alarm on the phone or whether you're attaching the new habit to an old one. Mistake number 3 is we run solo. Like we forget to actually share the load with those we love. And we know that that's possible somehow. Food rhythm number 1 is the 3 and 7 freedom formula, which is my personal favorite because it makes you see that it actually is realistically possible for you to cook less, like half the time. I hope you can all see that. Rhythm number 2 is the 1 minute morning check-in that will save your chaos in the afternoon, not knowing what you're making for dinner, and it will just streamline your day. And rhythm number 3 is that high yield shopping hacks, which is just once a week, get your home delivery, but also just prep the food as you're putting it away. Take that 10 minutes, get it done, and you will thank yourself tenfold later. So, what did you guys think about those habits? I know that lots of you here, like I said before, like you're probably mum to school-aged kids or under, and feeling like the road to get enough nourishment into them feels confusing or time-consuming. And maybe even I do hear from lots of parents too that when you're harping on your kids about eating better all the time and trying to get them to eat the meals you've made for them, you can get this negative food culture in your home. And then if you don't feel like you're doing enough, you get that mother's guilt that we talked about. But basically, if that's you, I can help. I can help. And so that's what I love doing. I feel very passionate about helping people to get from this point on the screen here to feeling like, to getting from that point where you are feeling like just confused and overwhelmed and short of time and negative and mum guilt, all that stuff that we can sometimes put on ourselves. Sometimes it's because you just don't know where to start. Like you're so capable. You are so capable, and you've got the ability to get from where you are now to feeling like you are deeply nourished and that you are energized. Like energy is the currency of health. Like if you feel energized, that's a really good indication that you are deeply nourished, right? And so if you're feeling that energy, if you're feeling confident that your kids are getting the best start because you're setting them up with a strong foundation for their microbiome, which will dictate much of their physical and their mental health. If you're feeling confident about that and you're feeling like you've got support because you've got support from your family and support from me and support from the community in the No Fuss Nourish method, is we are opening the doors for the No Fuss Nourished method. And what I want to do is I should probably just stop. Where are you? I'm just going to remove that here. Yeah. So if you are looking for some support, I would love to help you. The No Fuss Nourish method is basically within that No Fuss Nourish method is the vehicle to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. I feel so confident about that formula. We have a 4-pillar approach, and it's late, so I feel like I don't want to delve into it too much with you, but I'll do a little follow-up tomorrow with some details of what it all looks like. But basically, we have a foundation member, like we have a pool of people already in the No Fuss Nourish method. We opened the doors 8 months ago. We welcomed people in, and they've been already learning about lots of things, about the Bye-Bye Food Refusal module, where I took a 5-year-old little girl. I didn't take her. I looked after her a couple of days a week, and she was someone who was super sensory with food. She has autism. She couldn't eat basically anything unless it was hyper-processed food. But in the time that I had her, we had like 12 days total over 6 weeks, we actually made so much progress with how she was eating. Her mother was astounded. Like, she didn't think it was possible. And so there are principles at play here that can help your family move along, no matter what roadblocks you think there might be there. I promise you that there is a way around them, and there is a way forward to a place where you actually do feel like you've got that health insurance plan in place of sorts, through that nourishment of yourself firstly, and then your kids. When your kids are so well nourished, you might actually even see things like improvement in sleep and behavior and mood. But more than anything, you're going to feel like you're in control, like things are in control, because you're going to have that positive food culture in your home. We talk a lot about that positive food culture. You're also going to know what to do next. Like, you're not going to be confused about what's next, because the roadmap will just be handed to you. I always think of that Frozen 2 movie where Elsa sings about the next right thing. And like, that's what you get given. So when it comes to kids complaining and not wanting to get on board, like, it becomes a non-issue when you just follow the roadmap. And I can promise you that things can get so much better, not just in terms of your time that we've been speaking about tonight, but also the level of nourishment that you and your family can still enjoy, even though you're not putting as much time in that you might be now. So my goal on the No Fuss Nourish method is to provide whatever supports you guys need. So there are quite a few things that we do right now. And there's another thing that I haven't even told our members. I might have mentioned it in a post today, but our recipe website is going to now be exclusively for members of the No Fuss Nourish method. So there are going to be there's already heaps of recipes in there that are designed to help your family be very much more nourished and easier, is what I'm trying to get at. And I'm actually going to go through and delete all the recipes that were already there that don't fit that criteria, and it's going to be highly targeted to those types of recipes. And so I don't want mums out there that have the ability to get help to feel like they're apathetic because it's just so overwhelming and they're done. They're just so over it. I don't want them to feel the mother's guilt. I don't want them to feel the frustration and the exhaustion that comes from it. Like, all those things are just not necessary. And I would love to help you. So I'm going to give you a link. I should tell you that the No Fuss Nourish method is $30 a month. It's only going to stay $30 a month until the next intake, which I actually don't know when that's going to be, because it's been 8 months since we last opened. I'm not sure when the next time we will open it is, but we're going to open just for a few days. So Saturday midnight is when we're going to close the doors again. Here's where you can join. I'll put the link in. Tomorrow, I'll come in and answer some questions. Like, if you have questions about the membership, I haven't really spoken about it much here tonight, but if you've got questions about it, send them through on either email or messenger, and I'll answer them tomorrow. And I'll even give you a sneak peek into the membership to see what it's all like. But we do Q&As as well as that weekly content. And tomorrow we're starting our first, I don't know what we'd really want to call it, but whether it's a coaching session. So people are a little bit hesitant to actually jump on live with me for live coaching. So what we've done now instead is people are sending in their individual situations. Like, like my kid, I feel like I can't share the load because my kids aren't old enough, or they have special needs, or I just don't have that network around me and I don't want to go on Facebook, like all those things. Or maybe my teenager is so angsty that I just cannot find a way. Like, our relationship is suffering. I can't even think about improving his food, like all that stuff. Like, what do I do? Like, or there's a plethora of situations that you guys might have that you might struggle with. Send that situation into me, and I will pick apart the principles that will apply and solve and improve and help that issue with you, that will also help everyone else, because we're all in the same boat, more or less. Like, we all lead different lives, but my gosh, our struggles are so similar. And you might have actually seen, I saw quite a few people say when I shared my story that they could relate so much to it, because even though we're different people, we have similar issues. And so helping that type of coaching where you can send in your situation. And then also we do lots of product reviews as well. So if you're shopping and you're like, what do those numbers mean? What does that ingredient mean? I don't really know. I could Google it, but that's going to take forever while I'm in the aisle. The biggest skill that I took out from the Whole Food Collective was being able to pick apart food labels and ingredients. So I love doing that for people as well. And it's quite surprising, some of the things that we come across. So we've got the main thing is that weekly one next step. It's a short video. I'm trying to keep it under 20 minutes, maybe 10. There have been some times in the past where I have gone over that, but I'm trying now to keep it super short. It might be a quick downloadable. Actually, the thing that we've had a lot of good feedback about is we had a week where we're talking about the importance of diversity for kids, and how can we get enough diversity into our kids, because we know that that's the number one indicator for good gut health. And so my daughter and I created a storybook for kids, and it's an ebook. We're actually going to print it because we've had such fabulous feedback about it, about kids begging to read it again, about kids going, oh, which bacteria is this going to feed, Mum? Or maybe I need to have more of that food, because like we've got characters in the book that are all the different bacteria in your body and what they do, like what function, like what it does for you, what superpowers they have. And so we've got kids who are now asking to try all these different foods, and it was really, really great. So you guys, there's lots in the membership. I will bullet point it all out. I'll send a little message out and do a Q&A tomorrow. But for tonight, I really hope. Oh, and I promised you, for sticking around to the end, I promised you this mini ebook about lunches for you. So this is only going to be given here in this in the comment thread there. I'm not going to send it around because it's for those who stay to the end. So that's your ebook link. You are welcome. It's very simple, just 7 easy lunch ideas for you that don't take much time. So guys, that's it. Thank you for sticking around. I know it was a bit of a long one. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being part of our community. And I just love connecting with you. I love sharing whatever wisdom I have to share. And I also love to hear your ideas and what works for you. Carrie, can I pin it? Let me see if I can pin it. No, I can't pin it. So what I'll do is I'll just show it there. Maybe I will have to send it. Oh, someone else can't see the link. Oh, no one can see the link. Okay. You guys, I will send it around. Everyone can have it. Obviously, my links aren't showing, so that's cool. So, guys, I have, obviously, you won't be able to see the link to join the No Fuss Nourish method either, so I will send it around tomorrow. So you'll have both links tomorrow, and I'll send you the ebook as well. Hopefully, you've already had a message in Messenger that actually asks for your email address, so I can actually get that ebook to you from tonight that has all my emergency dinner recipes in there and all the rest. So make sure you reply on Messenger with your email address and we'll get that sorted for you. Thank you for being here. I feel like I'm waiting for you to say goodbye, but like I can't hear you. So it's just that awkward goodbye where you're just by yourself. So have a wonderful night. Have a great sleep. I'm sure that we're all ready to go to sleep. And I'll be speaking with you tomorrow. So just make sure you open up your messages or come in here to the Facebook group and I will have sent you a little something to help you understand what is on offer with the No Fuss Nourish method. It is a short window of time to jump on in. So make sure you check it out before Saturday midnight. Bye, guys.